Okay. We are live. Just give us 1 second to share the link and we will get started. There you go.
Tight.
Okay.
Yes, I see us on my feed.
So I don't know if this graphic came up though. Oh well.
We have 4 washers already.
Hi. What's going on? Welcome to the JonTopofIt show. I'm your host, John Meisberg, and I'm here with my guest, DJ Toastercookie.
Hi, John. How's it going?
What's going on?
Not too much. You can feel free to call me by my real name, Angelo, though. Not DJ Toastercookie.
Toastercookie is so much more fun to use, though.
I mean, if you wanted to say that out every time, feel free.
So, like, where does that name come from? That's what I want to know.
It goes back a long way. So, actually, the very first time I ever made an account on America Online, AOL, back in 1999, whatever I originally wanted my screen name to be wasn't available, and then underneath, when it told me that screen name wasn't available, it gave me a bunch of suggestions that were just like 2 dictionary words thrown together randomly, and there was like 10 of them, and one of them was Toastercookie.
And just stuck.
And I was just like, that's kind of catchy. And then I picked it as my screen name, and then it's been my screen name ever since. Yeah, always available. I never have to put any numbers after it or anything. It's just
No little X, big X name, big X.
Yeah.
Little X.
Exactly. So yeah, it's been, that was, wow, yeah, almost 20 years ago.
So, DJ Toastercookie, or Angelo, he goes by the purveyor of funky beats and bass lines, and his SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Toastercookie, if you want to check out any of his music. So he is actually, I don't know if you can't see in the shot right now, but he's brought all of his portable DJ equipment. He's going to put on like a mini set for us after the interview. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that should be the plan. I'm excited.
Dope. So stay tuned if you want to hear that exclusive JonTopofIt Toastercookie set. But yeah, I've just been wanting to talk to you for a while because you're a friend of mine, and one of my friends that I see at music festivals and shows, and I've seen you perform at Q, which is like a house type nightclub in Seattle, and Monkey Loft, and I just thought it'd be interesting to kind of get to know you as the DJ and not just as a friend, like find out maybe just what makes you tick and kind of like your process and things like that. So
Yeah, for sure.
one of the first things I'd like to ask you about is COVID. This whole year, there kind of hasn't been any in-person shows. So like how is it, I guess, first of all, how have you been reaching out to fans, or how have you been performing, like, given the pandemic?
Yeah, it's been really hard, obviously, because DJing is so much about the in-person. Basically what has happened is everyone has moved to Facebook and Twitch and, doing live streams. And it's pretty fun. I've played on some live streams. I have a few friends who have like really taken to the live stream thing and are doing it on a super regular basis. I haven't done it regularly, but a few people have like asked me to guest on their like stream, and I've done that, and that's always fun. And so yeah, most DJs have been doing that. It's kind of cool to see like not only our local DJs playing on it on Twitch, but like you can go on Twitch on Saturday night now and see like it's like a festival every Saturday with the big name DJs, that would normally in the before times be playing at clubs or festivals on every weekend of the year. Now you can just tune into them on Twitch.
And I think what's wild is like instead of walking from one set to the next one and it takes like 10 minutes to get there, you're like, oh, I'm going to that stage. It's like you just click on a Twitch station. It's like, boom, it's like there,
Yeah, for sure. It's been pretty fun. I spend a decent amount of time watching DJs on Twitch now, just because it's like, why not? You need something to listen to, just like see who's playing on Twitch right now.
Mm-hmm. I guess it must be a little bit different in the sense that like when you look out, instead of seeing like people dancing, it's like cats.
It's true. Yeah. Or, it's the cats, and then you have to like pay attention to the chat in Twitch. That's the new thing, right? Everyone says like, make some noise in the chat if you dig this next song or whatever.
So wait, how do you make noise in the chat? Do you just like smash the keyboard, or what do you?
Or just like send like five fire emojis over and over and over again, really fast. And like, if you can add custom icons for your Twitch channel, so your subscribers can use them, and so people always add like fun ones, people dancing or like the word nice, or
and
just
so
like
and so I don't know a whole lot about Twitch. I actually know more about Facebook right now when it comes to streaming, and I know they have this system of sending stars to your like people you support, which is kind of like Facebook currency. And I think doesn't Twitch have something kind of similar? Or
yeah, it's called bits.
Yeah,
you can like tip people with bits.
It's like throwing money on stage.
Yeah, basically.
Like, here you go. I like that song.
Well, and like a lot of people have it set up so like when someone tips them like that, it like makes some like crazy graphics go on the screen. So
that's
like
kind of fun.
It's like literally like making it rain in the club.
Man, the future is weird.
Yeah, it really is. It's kind of like on one hand, it sucks to not have the like feedback of the crowd happening, but on the other hand, like if you pay attention to the chat, people are almost more. They give you more feedback than you would have live, because like maybe someone live, if they're not like someone who's not really into dancing, you might not know what their reaction is to the song. They're just going to stand there and kind of bob their head regardless. But like that same person in a chat might be like, oh wow, this track is so sick, and like you get kind of instant feedback. So you lose some stuff, get some stuff back. It's still fun to play on Twitch. It's not quite the same, but
I wonder if this will change how shows will be in the future, as far as like maybe presenting opportunities for fans to interact with the DJ or the performer, like beyond just like dancing in front of them to show them that they like it. I don't know. Some kind of like phone to DJ interaction. I'm not sure. I don't know. But I mean, it's kind of like what's happening right now. It's just out of necessity.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, hopefully it'll never be that like they're selecting the music themselves, because I think that kind of takes some of the magic out of it.
That would defeat my purpose.
yeah, for real. Isn't there a thing like that though? I did hear about something like that, but I don't think it's very popular.
I mean, a jukebox.
Right, yeah.
Like that's the original jukebox, and I think like, some DJs, it's their, requests are more of a thing. It's kind of like a genre dependent thing. Like if you go to like a hip hop club, it might be more likely to be, taking requests or like top 40 kind of stuff. Whereas with electronic music, it's pretty much no request. That's just kind of the thing.
Yeah. How do you handle that when someone comes up to you while you're DJing, trying to talk to you about like playing something particular? How do you handle that? It has to happen, right?
Oh, it happens all the time.
Like whether you think it's like not appropriate, it's still got to happen.
Yeah, and like most of the time, those people have good intentions. Obviously there's some annoying people who don't like get the hint that it's not really a request kind of situation. But usually when someone makes requests, I take that as they just want to hear something that they know, right? And like with electronic music, you're often playing, instrumentals for a lot of the time, some vocals here and there, but not like it's not like a top 40 club where it's just like song after song that everyone sings along to.
They want the free bird of EDM or something.
Yeah, or like they just want to hear like Dua Lipa or like Lady Gaga or something that like they can sing along to.
Yeah.
And so generally if I feel like I'm getting a lot of those kind of requests, maybe the crowd isn't exactly, they're not here to hear forward-thinking electronic music.
Yeah.
And so I'll throw in a few more remixes, right? If like an older person comes up and requests like Journey or something, then maybe throw in some like 80s classics remixes, still keep my own spin on it, but kind of, tailor it to the crowd.
That's nice of you. I think some DJs would just be like, fuck off.
No, I mean, a lot of DJs would be like, fuck off. And like, the truth is that like, I got my start DJing playing at like frat parties and like college parties and the kind of situations where you're not going to be playing like 30 minutes or 60 minutes of straight house music. It's expected that you take some requests, play some songs that people know. I have a soft spot for pop music, so I'm happy to, throw in some classics. Like I love like 90s dance music, like
oh yeah, same.
Show Me Love by Robin S. and like even like something like Aqua or like just those classics. Like I'll always throw in some of those if the mood is right.
Yeah. So back to COVID. What do you think about these shows that are happening inside of a car, like drive-through shows where you stand next to your car?
I mean, people are they're gonna find ways to make a show happen. Like people miss being able to feel the bass. I think
didn't I see like a Tiesto show coming up that's like it's like $400 a ticket or something? Is that a car one or no?
No, I think that's just like a Red Rocks but socially distanced. Like they're only selling like a quarter or like an eighth of the total tickets that they would normally sell so that everyone can be more spread out.
Uh-huh.
And I think, we're probably going to start seeing more of that kind of stuff as like as certain states start to like relax their social distancing requirements. I don't think we'll see very many in Washington because like we're still stuck in like that phase 2 where you can't have more than 10 people in a place. So like
Inslee's like, yeah, I want you to socially distance from your wife or partner.
Yeah, exactly. But I think like the drive-in rave, it seems like a cool idea. I've also seen like hotel balcony parties where like they take like a hotel where all the balconies open out into like a main area and like put the DJ in the main area and then let everyone like hang out on their balconies with their housemates or like their bubble while preventing kind of the mixing with people from outside. And I think that's a pretty cool idea.
So here for the people who don't know, this is what a drive-in rave looks like. So everyone's at their car. I guess this is like how it's done, right? But then there was who was it? There was that one artist that did a drive-in rave, but everyone just got out of the car and went to the front. Do you know what I'm talking about? That was
like
Chainsmokers.
Chainsmokers in New York.
I wonder if you could find a picture of that.
And like I think the issue with a lot of these shows is that like you can have the best intentions with the social distancing, but as soon as like people start getting excited and the drugs or alcohol start flowing, everyone, people stop paying as much attention to the social distance guidelines, and it might, unless it's like strictly enforced, it can be hard to prevent people from just kind of like
doing this. It's like a straight up concert now. Pretty much.
I mean, obviously it's not as crowded, packed in as it would have been in the before times,
right.
But like if someone had COVID and was in that pit,
that'd be a problem.
It'd probably be a problem.
So no, what were you talking about? There's hotel shows?
Yeah, like hotel balcony.
Balcony.
Let's see if we can find it. It was in Europe, I think I saw
Rave.
it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see this, watch Brickle DJ spin house music on balcony, maybe?
It's kind of fun to show this.
Oh no, I don't know if this is necessarily what I was talking about.
when it's all the people, but across they can see him from across, right?
Yeah, and like this is unofficial, but like imagine if like there was an official like sound system where like everyone rented a hotel room balcony and was hanging out. And...
I love it. I think that's more responsible. I think.
Yeah,
it looks a little bit safer.
Yeah, because everyone still has like their
box,
their entire own space, and
cool.
But I think there's a lot of different ways to do it, but people need to think about what happens when people get drunk before they start trying to plan these shows, because you can have the best intentions, but once you're intoxicated, people forget.
I think that's why music festivals and shows are still or bars are like still stage 4 of the Washington State like opening processes, because they know that when like things like alcohol are involved, it becomes like people are not really thinking as much anymore.
Yeah,
so it needs to be thought proof.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
One, I mean, I understand everyone's trying to do what they can. I know that like I've heard about like some renegades that are just happening anyway. People are just like, I'm doing it, I don't care. Not really that responsible, but I hope there'll be a vaccine soon so we can go back to having shows, because it was a big part of my life personally. I really enjoyed. I think there's a lot of community and friendship that happens like throughout the music scene.
Oh yeah,
beyond just like going out to party, and I think it's important piece of of building and maintaining community is everyone having that third place to go and socialize at, and I think music is that for a lot of people.
Yeah, and that's extremely important. Like I actually worked from home before COVID started, and like I used the music in the club and like all of that kind of as like it was always there to provide social interaction if I needed it, because like I wasn't going to the office every day. I didn't have that like coworker social interaction, but I did always have my club friends and my other DJs that I would hang out with. Like I could just show up to Q or Monkey Loft on any given night and always know that I'll have people there that I know and to hang out with, right? And so like having that not there anymore, it's just like everyone else, it's like it's pretty isolating.
Yeah, I hope that changes pretty soon, but I mean, just get the Russian vaccine. It's already here. I heard Trump is going to override the FDA, and we're going to be pumping that Russian vaccine in our body very soon.
I'm so excited.
Are you ready?
Not really, no.
Yeah, it's kind of scary, but I hope a safe vaccine is here soon. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, so beyond COVID, I think my icebreaker question to you, and it's kind of stupid, but you're gonna be like, oh my god. My icebreaker question to you as a DJ was, what's the deal with DJs wearing all black? Is it just easier, or like are they trying to be invisible on stage or something? Like what? Why do you, that's one of the first things I ever thought when I started seeing like performer after performer or DJ, like whether they're a producer or DJ, I'm like, everyone is just all black. I'm like, you don't want to like try to wear anything, like it's just black. I don't know. What's your take on that?
I mean, I don't know. I might be the wrong person to ask, because
don't
do all black. But I think it's just like
it's a thing though.
Yeah, totally. It's a thing more in certain genres, like the cooler music, like techno and like the underground house scene. Like people tend to be more, wearing all black. I think also some of it is just because of the club scene in general. It's like it's dark. You're on stage. They might not want to stand out that much. Like
that's what it reminded me of, is when I would go to like a Broadway show, the people that like tear down sets and build them back up again, they wear all black and they come in and they like do it really quickly and get off the stage, and it's almost like they don't even want you to think that they're even there. And I was wondering, is that like what they're going for, or are they just trying to like, is it a vibe they're trying to create, like this is my vibe, I'm a dark guy? Like
I think it's probably more the second one. The DJ has like...
Can you tell I overthink all this stuff?
I mean, someone's got to do it. I think like the DJing as more of like a background thing is less prevalent now because like EDM and kind of like the rise of the like big, concert style electronic music has kind of made people expect to have the DJ kind of up on a pedestal. But I mean, it hasn't really always been that way. Like when I first started going out to clubs, kind of before and raised before the kind of EDM boom happened, DJs were like off in the corner. Like they were not, the party was the focus, right? Like you would see more people kind of like dancing in circles with their friends and like not really caring where the DJ really is, and the DJ would just kind of be like, off in the corner. Like I don't know if you've ever been to Neighbors.
No, what's Neighbors?
Neighbors is like an old gay club on Capitol Hill. It's like across the street from Q.
Oh, okay.
And that was actually the first club that I ever went to. And the DJ is like up on the second floor, like off in the corner. Like you can't even really see him when you're on the dance floor most of the time. And I think it's just like it's from a different time. Like the music was supposed to kind of be part of the party rather than the thing. Whereas like now it's like a concert.
So it's like you used to buy a ticket to go to a venue, and now you buy a ticket to see a person.
You buy a ticket for a party, right? Like you buy the ticket on the reputation of the people who throw the party, because you trust them to have a cool experience. And
that's kind of like what Waves is, right?
Totally.
Waves. Can you explain Waves real quick? Because I don't.
Yeah.
For the people who have no idea what I'm talking about.
Waves is a kind of artist collective that I'm a part of, and they also throw shows, and so part of the show, it's like you said, it's a focus on like the whole experience of the show rather than just the music. Obviously the music is a big part of it, but you have more kind of things like art installations, and like the stages are designed in a really cool way where it's like part of the whole environment rather than just like a bunch of screens with like trippy graphics.
Well, that's what makes some of the best festivals what they are. Is like you get there and the set design and the lighting, it's just like unbelievable. And you're like, what is it going to be like this year?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I totally get the appeal of that.
And like even beyond like how it looks, you trust, there's an amount of trust involved that like even if you don't know every single DJ on the lineup of these things, because you trust the promoter, you're going to go to the party and maybe get turned on to something you haven't seen before, or like a kind of music that you didn't know you liked, because you're trusting their curation of the lineup, even if you don't know who the DJs are. And I think that's like more of like the old school way of doing it.
It's their taste that extends outside of just the music, but everything, the whole culture around the music as well. Okay.
Yeah, totally.
That's cool. So I was gonna ask you to tell me how you got started DJing, like what got you into it. But I'm kind of curious, like if you could also tell me about like your first set, like how did that go? Can you think back to like? So first of all, like how long? When did you start?
Well, like DJing has been like the first time I ever thought in the sense of a DJ was probably when I was like 10 years old, making mixtapes, recording songs off the radio, right? Like if you want to talk about my first performance, I mean, maybe in college, I don't know. I like, even in high school, I was always the one who was like, had the aux at parties, right? Like they'd be like, hey, Angelo, you should like play some music. And then, that I would like, my friend would be having a party, and so I would make a dance playlist on my iPod where I would put on my favorite, house music and other dance songs in a playlist, and then just like plug it into their stereo at their house. And then like I wasn't necessarily like actively DJing at that time, but it was still like I was curating the music for the party, and I would, sometimes hang out in that room, and like if I thought that I didn't want the next song, I would, do a little bit of like manual changing of what the songs, the order or whatever.
So like unofficial DJing, just kind of like changing the tracks and.
Yeah, which I mean, that's still really DJing, because if you think about where DJ started, they weren't mixing either. They were just on the radio or playing songs in an order. And then I didn't play out like in a public place. Like in college, I DJ'd parties, and a few like the school hired me to CLU hired me to play like the freshman orientation dance, 80s dance, and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So that was like your first set in front of like strangers, like people that you didn't know.
Yeah, I was definitely in college when the school hired me to play for 1,000 drunk freshmen on their first weekend of college.
Okay, so yeah, tell me about that experience. I want to hear about that.
I mean, it was about what you expected. It was like an 80s themed dance, so I got to like scour through and find all the classic 80s songs.
Yeah. But like, how did it feel to like be up there, like seeing people respond to like the selection and like?
I mean, it was great. That's those are the moments that you live for when you have like that many people, 1,000 people. Like everyone is, feeling their best. Everyone is ready to just like get down. And then, especially with like the 80s, because it's just like that, all that music is so fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got to like find my favorites. I got to, Rickroll everyone. That was back when like Rickrolling was like
a thing. Yeah.
So that's
like
pretty
it's
fun.
still, I think it's still a thing, but it's like that's back when it was like really a thing.
Well, I feel like it's been coming back like super recently. The Rickroll.
My favorite way that I see it come back is like I'll be on Reddit and someone will be like, "Oh, it's finally been removed from YouTube, and they put up a memorial for it or something." And you click it, and it's the Rickroll again.
Yeah.
You're like, "Damn it!"
I've seen a lot of like fake news headlines where like you clicked it and you think it's gonna be a story about something, and it's like a Rickroll. Yeah, like I saw one. It was like that sign on I-5, like the Republican sign on I-5, like in Chehalis.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
I know I-5 like the highway.
There's this billboard in Chehalis, Washington that always has like Fox News talking points on it.
Okay.
And I saw an article that was like, that billboard's finally been removed. And I clicked on it and it was a Rickroll.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's like impossible not to fall for it, but whatever.
For sure, yeah.
Anyway, so back to your story,
So then I graduated college, and there was a distinct lack of parties in my life because college is over and like people don't just throw random parties anymore, especially in Seattle, because it's like there's not a lot of room to have big events unless you rent somewhere. So like I kind of had stopped for a few years, and then the first time I ever played in public was at Club Contour in Pioneer Square, and they had like an open decks. A friend of mine was like, "Hey," like she knew that I hadn't DJ'd in a while and still was into it, and she was like, "Hey, I saw there's an open decks. You should go like try to play."
So that's like open mic, but
yeah, it's like open mic. Like they'll,
that seems risky.
I mean it. When you Contour wasn't exactly like a poppin' club, right? And it was on like a Tuesday, right? So it's not like they're putting people up there with a packed floor on a Saturday night. Like it's pretty low risk. It's mostly just kind of, the night was mostly just about turning on promoters to new talent, and like there was some people there at that night who booked for other nights, and they were kind of like trying to find new people. And so I went there and played, and then like I met someone that night, my friend Mike, who then booked me for my first real show after that. And yeah, so it kind of just went from there.
So he saw you perform that night.
Yeah, he saw me play my little 15-minute open deck set and was like, "Hey, you're pretty good. You should play a full length set for me," because like he actually promoted for another night at that same club, like on like a Friday night instead of a Tuesday. And so he put me on, and then
there you go. That's how you got your start.
Yeah,
that's awesome. And how long ago was that?
That was in 2013. So it's been 7 years now since I've been doing that. Yeah. Wow, that's a long time.
Crazy. Think about how, sometimes it feels like a day lasts forever, but then you look back on 7 years and it's like, where did the time go?
Yeah.
So what about this? What would you say were some of the biggest influences on you that got you into DJing or got you to like where you are with your DJing today? Like, what has influenced you, either like other DJs or producers?
Yeah. Well, I think as far as like,
Or maybe a genre itself, or I don't know.
yeah. Well, as far as like inspiration to start DJing in public, really, the first time I went to Paradiso Festival, like I think it was like the first Paradiso that happened in like 2012, I think. That was when I kind of like I got the itch back, like because I said I had played in college, and then hadn't really like done much past that. But then I went to Paradiso and was like, damn, like I want
Damn.
this is super fun. I want to be a part of this scene.
Yeah.
And so that happened. As far as like influences on my DJ style, I don't know. It's hard to say. There's a few local DJs that I think kind of helped me along and like helped me become who I am in the scene now. One of those would be Matt Prescia. His DJ name is just Prescia. He kind of like from the very beginning was like an elder in the scene that I looked up to, and he kind of like helped me introduce me to some of the right people in the early years. He also DJ'd my wedding.
Oh wow.
So that was pretty fun. And then also when I first started DJing at Q, the two guys who kind of were running things around there were Sean Majors and Doug McIntyre, Dig Doug. Both of them have been, a fairly big part of my development. In those early days, I would play a set at Q, and Sean would, give me feedback afterwards. Always, the kind of like senpai loving, but a little bit harsh sometimes feedback that you got to take into account. And so I think, yeah, those two guys were a big part of my come up, so to speak.
I was gonna show people some examples of like this is like what Q looks like.
Oh yeah. Oh god, I missed that view so much.
That's not Angelo DJing, but he has been up there several times. I have seen him.
Yeah. I have photos of me.
It's
in that booth too, for sure.
Yeah, it's a dope club. It's like I like the way it's kind of set up where like it's like narrow and long. It's kind of nice. And then here's an example of like the main stage at Paradiso at the Gorge Amphitheater, which is this was canceled this year, and I'm really bummed out about it.
Well, I don't know if Paradiso will exist anymore ever.
Right.
Because of the
but shows in general.
Yeah.
But I what is it? Insomniac took over for putting
USC.
on shows.
Yeah.
So maybe next year they'll have something there, but
yeah, hopefully we can get some festivals back next summer.
I'm telling you, man, Russian vaccine. That's what it's going to take.
We're counting on it.
I'm putting it in me. So we talked about things that have been a big influence on you. Let's see. How about this? What about the shows and the festivals that you've gone to? How have they impacted like how you put a set together or how you perform? Like how have you like molded like how you go about it based on like how you've seen either other people go about it, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I think so. My favorite music festival on the planet is Shambhala Music Festival in Canada. You've been.
Mm-hmm.
It's super fun.
10 stars.
10 out of 10. 11
out of 10. Yeah, it's pretty dope.
And I think the vibe there is just like fun, right? I think a lot of DJs take themselves too seriously, and they're always trying to like play like only the most underground tracks that no one's ever heard of, and like they would think it was like a sin to like play a song that is on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never at Shambhala. The vibe is just so fun. No one cares about any of that kind of superficial stuff. It's just all about, especially a stage there called Fractal Forest. they're just always playing like it's just like house party in there like all the time. And I definitely take a lot of inspiration from that. Like, I want my sets to feel like a party. Like, I don't want my sets to feel like some like stuffy kind of like too cool for you situation. I want the fun. I want the funk. I want, some sing-alongs, some songs that people know, just to, keep the energy going. Oh yeah, there's Fractal Forest.
Fractal Forest.
It's really hard to.
I feel like pictures don't do it justice.
Oh no, not at all. Even videos don't really do it justice.
I don't even think you're supposed to have video, are you?
No, you're
it's not even
supposed
supposed to exist
either.
No.
But I think like that kind of like fun, funky energy that Shambhala has kind of been what I've kind of wanted to mold my sets to the most.
And
obviously playing at Shambhala would be like a major goal in my career. I got to play at Paradiso 2 years ago, or I guess just 1 year, a year and a half ago. And that was amazing.
So what do you think makes Shambhala so different? Is it that it's Canadian culture, or what makes that, or is it just the people that put it on know how to make the experience more authentic? Like, what is it?
It's a lot of things, I think, that come together in like a beautiful way. Like, obviously it being in Canada is part of it, because Canadians, I think, are just nicer in general and like more kind of like easygoing.
Yeah, I agree.
People.
I agree.
But then also Shambhala has been going for over 20 years now. And so I think like logistically everything is in that festival is so perfect. They know how to make everything kind of run smoothly. You don't get stuck in lines very much. I mean, obviously there's some lines for like food or whatever sometimes, but like it just feels very free and open. I think part of that is just their relaxation around drug use. You're not constantly worried that like you're going to get busted if you choose to partake.
And I think beyond them going around policing whether or not you're using any substances, it's also that they have these open testing areas,
drug testing,
where you can just straight up take anything that you have that you plan on taking later, and they'll test it for you and make sure that it's safe-ish, to ingest. And I think that kind of impacts the way that everyone feels. Like you're not sketched out that you're going to end up accidentally killing yourself.
Yeah. And honestly, I think the fact that the one substance that they do pretty much ban is alcohol.
Yeah, which is like
makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
like
that's awesome.
I mean, I'll have some drinks, but I'm never, especially if I'm trying to dance all night, I'm not going to be someone who drinks very much. I think it pulls down my overall mood. I have less energy, and I think at any average show in the US or festival, less so festival, but definitely show, you'd be surprised at how much people being drunk kind of like brings down the overall like level of vibration. When you go to Shambhala and you see 10,000 people all at like vibrating at this like super high level because they're not, they're all on LSD and MDMA.
Yeah, instead of alcohol. It's a different vibe.
Yeah, it's totally different vibe. It's way more fun.
Yeah.
The dancing is way more just like crazy, and you have less bad vibes. You have less fights. You have less overdoses, because a lot of times I
think I remember talking to the people that work like safety over there, and they were saying that like the main reason why anyone overdoses, like statistically at these music festivals, is this alcohol mixed with another substance.
Exactly.
And then it's like you take that out of the equation, and most of these substances, when taken responsibly, are actually relatively safe, which is pretty interesting. And it seems like it makes it seem like in America we just have our drug laws so ass backwards. It's so weird.
Yeah, you couldn't even do the on-site drug testing in the U.S. if you wanted to, because of the Rave Act.
Yeah,
which basically would hold the festival responsible for any kind of like any shenanigans that happen.
Isn't that Biden too? It's like we have some great choices for this election.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna mention that, because you should still vote for Biden.
I agree. I still think you gotta. you got to weigh both of your options, and one option seems clearly like the worst option, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry about talking about that.
Oh no, it's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, Shambhala is incredible. But I've always wondered, like, trying to analyze, well, what makes it Shambhala? What makes it what it is? And I think that a lot of the things that you mentioned definitely aggregated make that experience.
I think another thing that makes it special for me is that at a normal festival, it might have 3 or 4 stages, but all of them are being kind of booked by the same group of people. Whereas at Shambhala, they have 6 stages, which is a lot, but also each one of them is kind of independently run.
Mm-hmm. So they have a very different feel.
Yeah.
And so you have this very nice, like, eclectic
vibe.
It's
almost like 6 different clubs,
mm-hmm.
right? Where it's like...
it really does feel like that when you're there.
Yeah. And it's like, and you... because it's like a club, kind of what the vibe to expect is at each stage. So rather than being like, oh, who do I want to go see, it's more like, what kind of music am I feeling like seeing? Because that Fractal Forest is going to have like the funky
mm-hmm.
disco kind of stuff, and then the Village is going to have the like aggressive dubstep, and then like the Grove's going to have the chill out music for like 5 a.m. And so you can kind of like just guide yourself amongst the stages rather than having to be like, oh, who's playing, constantly like checking your little schedule to see what stage has music that you want.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of know.
Yeah, I think when I first started going to festivals, I'd like have like a lineup of like artists I wanted to see, and then like after like the first festival, I just totally gave up on that. I'm like, oh well, I just go wherever it feels like I want to go.
Yeah, I mean, your best laid plans will go poof when you like
pretty much
when you're in the moment, for sure.
Yeah. So tell me about, like, how about this? When it comes to club experiences that you have, what's it like DJing in a club versus like at a house party or say for Twitch? Like, what's a club experience like? Like, what for, like, say there's a DJ out there they're a bedroom DJ. They've only performed in their bedroom. What would you tell them to expect if they just booked their first gig? Like, what are they going to go through?
Yeah, totally. I think the biggest thing that new DJs kind of have to go through to get used to playing at clubs is kind of learning that it's not just about your set.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you see a lot of new DJs will play what they say out of their time slot, which kind of means, like, club night goes from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m., right? If you had aggressive or high energy music that entire time, people are going to get tired of it. And so a lot of club nights try to have a progression, especially if there's like a headliner that's, people are looking forward to, and they're always happening like at midnight or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're the DJ that's playing at 10 p.m., and that you probably will be if you're new, like you said.
Yeah. Or maybe 8 or 9. Yeah.
Well, if the club's even open that early, yeah. But like, you need to take into account that people are just going to be arriving at the club. They might not necessarily have they might not want to dance. They might just want to be drinking or whatever. And so you kind of have to feel out the vibe of how the crowd and kind of what level of movement they want and play music that's appropriate for that. So like, really part of the difficulty of being an opening DJ is you're really trying to like entice the crowd into dancing. It's not as easy as just, play this like high energy house song with like a big bass drop and everything. Like, if you play that and the floor is empty, it's gonna feel weird, right? Like I have felt that. Yes, I've been in many a club at 10:30 at night and had the DJ banging it out like it's 1 a.m. and everyone's wasted.
Yeah,
and there's like 5 people on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna look bad.
Uh-huh.
And I think like I definitely fallen into that trap back in my earlier days where I was like, oh, I have all these great songs that because like what happens is when you're playing at home, especially if you're playing on like a smaller set of speakers, maybe those like really high energy songs just are like, they're just like bumping in your home stereo and you're by yourself, and so you're dancing around. But then when you change the context and you're playing your favorite new bangers in the club and it's really loud, it comes over totally differently. And so I think the biggest thing for new DJs to pay attention to is just kind of like that level of energy.
When you say different, what do you mean by different?
Like, sorry.
You say like when you're playing it in your bedroom versus you're playing it in the club, it comes across differently.
Well, so yeah, in your bedroom, you just have, your little, maybe you have like monitor speakers and a subwoofer, but that's still not the club, right? Like the amount of bass that comes through is so much more, right? And like everything, like a song that might sound like pretty chill on your home system, you play it at the club, and all of a sudden it's this huge thing.
It's not chill
because there's all this sub bass that you don't even hear at your house, and like all this other stuff. And so I think, as you get more experience DJing, you kind of learn to kind of tone it down.
Okay.
I think that's like there's a time and place for really exciting, bangers.
Yeah.
And there's a time and place to kind of just like keep it chill. And I think learning how to, differentiate between when that's required, and even just like inside of a given set, kind of take people on like a journey of energy.
Yeah.
So it's not just like, you at a festival, you might see DJs just like slamming banger after banger over and over,
like
really
Skrillex
fast.
Or something.
Yeah,
It's
or
just
even,
like it's all the same.
It's just like this one level.
Yeah.
Or it's like it goes like this and then down to a breakdown and then 100% and then 0% and then 100%.
Yeah.
And like it's okay, but like I prefer to like have more of like a roller coaster of energy where you kind of like have parts where it's increasing and then decreasing. And I think that's really what, at least for me, what I look for in like say a DJ is skilled, is that they have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
And to take the crowd on a ride.
Well, it sounds like not only are you trying to take them on a ride in progression throughout your own set, but you're also taking into consideration the set that came before you and the set that comes after you, so that you can all operate as like a collective.
Yeah. The best club nights and the best shows are when all the DJs are paying attention to where the other one was at and where the next one's going to be at. So that it's like a consistent feel.
It must feel really good too to like have somebody who like has your back, so to speak, like someone who like sets you up really well.
Oh yeah. There's nothing better than walking out to a dance floor that's already been like warmed up by someone else who's good at that. Because like
you're like, thanks, bro.
Yeah, exactly. And like they're ready to go, and then you can just kind of go ham. And even just like little DJ etiquette things, like bringing down the energy should be brought down in the last like 10 minutes of your set, so that the next DJ has kind of room to go from, right? Like if you have like your most high energy track last, it's like, where's the next DJ go? Like no matter what they play, it's going to kind of sound bad.
Yeah.
So like I always try to, my last few songs kind of bring the energy down a little bit so that there's more breathing room, so to speak, headroom for the next person.
That's nice of you. It's very considerate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think being considerate and operating as a collective is like a maybe like a more of an advanced DJ tactic. But like or strategy, and if you've adopted that, then you're already like leagues ahead. If you've gotten your mindset around operating that way.
Yeah, I think that's like, it's reading the crowd. That's really the marker of an experienced DJ. They're not planning out their whole set in advance.
Yeah. But correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is like the concept of like playing tracks specifically based on how the crowd is interacting is kind of not as common anymore. Is that wrong? I think do DJs typically plan out like maybe like a collection of music that they could play and then pick from those tracks, or how would you say that a typical DJ goes about it like in 2020?
Well, I don't think that there's a typical.
Oh, okay.
Just because, like, from what I can tell, everyone has their own amount of before work that they do.
Okay.
Right. So, like, I know some people who never make never do any playlisting for their gigs. They sort their music by however they sort it, genre, year, whatever, and then they just go into their live show and they pick songs on the fly from that. That's kind of extreme.
But it's bad practice to show up with like a playlist and just go through it. It's bad practice.
I wouldn't say it's bad practice.
Oh.
As like it depends, right? Because like, especially if you're opening, and like the idea of the opening is you want to have like the energy kind of slowly increasing throughout your set.
Yeah,
that can be really hard to nail unless you at least have kind of some sense of how you want to do it. It's really easy to like play a song that's way more energy than you want because you don't know it that well or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think like personally, my happy medium is I pick songs but not order, right? So like if I have a set, I'll sit down and make a playlist for the set the week before, and I'll think about kind of the vibe I want to convey, or the vibe of the party that already exists, right? Because sometimes you get booked for a party, you've been to that party before, it's like a recurring thing or whatever. You kind of know what to expect as far as what the crowd might like, and so you can kind of like throw in 100 songs in a playlist. I'm only going to play 30 of the 100. So like, you know, I try to have like 2 to 3 times as much music in my playlist as I would actually end up playing.
So you have options.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, because like I have such a large library, like thousands of songs, that like if I didn't have at least some amount of filtration beforehand, I'll just overwhelm myself. So it's like I have the 100 songs that I picked ahead of time, and I could stray out of that if I want to, but at least I have it to fall back on if I like, you know, am running out of time to pick the next song and I'm like, oh crap, what am I gonna do? Like I have the playlist already.
Yeah. So I know you use a computer to store your music, but hypothetically, if you used an iPod and I was scrolling through it, what would I find?
You just want to know like what artists I play a lot of?
Maybe no. Maybe like what music do you personally listen to? Like,
oh, personally, like
yeah,
in my free time,
not to perform.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Honestly, I listen to a lot of not necessarily like super electronic music in my free time. I do sometimes listen to like my own sets or like my friends' sets, but like I listen to a lot of pop music.
Okay. Are you listening through music to try to find like ideas of what to like blend into your sets? Like you're always kind of like in the background searching. Is it like always like a process going on?
Yeah, sometimes. I definitely like I'll have music digging sessions where I'm like that's what I'm specifically thinking about DJing, but then a lot of times like I just want to like listen to music. Like I still just listen to, you know, music like a normal person. And I like generally like more chill kind of stuff like that. I listen to a lot of like, you know, lo-fi hip hop and like just like that beat kind of stuff
to study to.
Yeah, exactly. Or like to work to, or like I always have music on in the background when I'm working.
Yeah.
Just that kind of stuff.
I'm just saying because of that video, that popular video on YouTube. It's like lo-fi something to study to.
Lo-fi hip hop beats to relax.
And it's like the girl. Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually been like working on making some of those kind of beats lately.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, it's like there's no dance floors. I've been having a hard time like finding inspiration to make dance music lately, because it's like there's no dance floors.
Yeah, the execution is not there. Like to have somebody like experience it, it's hard to get that satisfaction.
Yeah, I would use my shows as kind of motivation. I would test out new songs on the dance floor.
When you would do that, what ratio of like your music versus like other people's music would you do? Like
it really depended on the set. Like like I said before, like sometimes
I'm finding out that basically there's no formula and there's no science. It's all an art, and it's all up to the individual.
Correct. And yeah, it really depends, because like sometimes I'll play sets where my own personal music style fits in really well with the other music that I want to play, and so maybe in that case I'll play like, you know, 25% my own music.
Yeah.
But then there's plenty of times where I don't play any of my own music in the set because I might be playing a set that's just not it doesn't fit. I'm not one to try to ram it in.
Yeah, but if it fits organically.
Exactly. Or if it's like more of like a performance where it's like I'm not necessarily trying to fit into a club lineup as much as like giving like a festival type set where you have a chance to kind of showcase your own personal style rather than trying to fit into a club kind of like setup.
Yeah.
So maybe then I'll play an increasing amount of my own music, but I generally like I don't think I'll ever play an all original set. I have too much ADD. I like variety. I think, and plus I just like showing off.
I really like it when like it seems like a producer, they created a track that almost is like perfectly like branches off of somebody else's song. Like it's almost like they loved a song so much they created another song that somehow like it's like a puzzle piece that like fits into it somehow.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
That is cool. Yeah.
So what is it like? What is it like to play music that you've produced for people and see them like vibing and dancing to it?
It's pretty fun. It's definitely an experience. I definitely have a lot. I get anxiety doing it because it's like
you're like, will they like it?
Yeah, exactly. You don't know. Like you might be like hyper focusing on how people respond.
But it must feel. I think if it were me, I would imagine it feels better knowing that I created the track itself. Like even better. It's like it's one thing to put on the perfect track and it's like, oh, they like that. Oh, I put on the perfect track and I created it too. It's like a double whammy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun. I always compare my own tracks to the other tracks that I'm playing, which is it's a lot easier to do that when you're literally mixing them into each other. And so like I'll sometimes be like, and this might be the only time I'll hear my songs on big systems. So I'm always like making like mental notes, like, oh, this part is too loud. Like I'm trying to like
you're like to go back and like do a 2.0 of it.
I might not enjoy it as much as I could, especially if it's like a new, like not even a 2.0, like maybe the song is not out yet. And so I'm like playing it and trying to like literally take notes about, certain parts because I am hearing it loud and I'm seeing other people react to it. And it just like mixing it in, it kind of, you get a sense for how it really feels better than if you're just listening to it at home.
Yeah. So I bet you could like, do you record your sets and go back and listen to them?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Especially when I was learning and like kind of trying to increase my skills a lot, I would always go back and listen to my sets and then like make mental notes about certain parts and like be like, oh, I should have done this better, or like, oh, this part I need to like take that kick out sooner, just things like that. And kind of it helped me grow a lot to like really take apart my sets mentally in my head and kind of like, because you don't really hear them when you play them, like you're in the moment, and so you're not really paying attention to like how it sounds to someone else. So it's good to listen back for sure.
Yeah, but it's like a different perspective.
Exactly.
So this is pretty good advice for any DJs out there or aspiring DJs that are, they're trying to improve, which is to just like constantly review your creations and look for ways to improve it. What other advice would you give to an up and coming or like aspiring DJ as far as like things that they should do or not do?
I mean,
say you were talking to you 7 years ago. What would you tell yourself? What would you tell yourself 7 years ago?
I mean, with DJing, it's not about what you know as much as who you know. Especially in our local scene, it's really about the connections you make with other people. And so like you can be the best DJ ever, but if you don't know the people who are booking the parties, you don't contribute, right? It's like I picked that up pretty fast, but I definitely think like you got to contribute to the scene in a way that's more than just I want to play this party.
Yeah. So being active in the community.
Exactly. I didn't really start playing big gigs until I started throwing my own gigs. I threw a few of my own parties, and then you can like book other DJs. You can bring people together. You can kind of like use that to extend an olive branch to people who are
do favors for each other.
Yeah, favors are just like when people are thinking about who they want to book for their party. Their friends and people they like are going to be the first people on their mind, and it's not, it's so unofficial and not, there's no like lists or whatever. Everyone's just doing it.
Yeah. I mean, this is basically just how the world works.
Yeah. Yeah.
For everything, probably. Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. Any other tips you would give yourself from 7 years ago? Baby Angelo.
I don't know, like stop playing trap.
Awesome.
Yeah, I
Wait, what's wrong with trap?
Oh, I mean, I just didn't really like
your music style. The music that you were into 7 years ago is different than the music you're into now, which is okay. I mean, like that's everyone's taste evolve grows, and change. Yeah.
I just found that once I started DJing house music, I had a hard time going back to doing anything else.
So what is it about house music that you like so much?
I think it's really the crowd.
The type of people that show up.
The type of people that show up for house music shows are just fun. There's more dancing. House is like a faster BPM than like bass music and trap.
Yeah.
And so it encourages more dancing. And I think because of like the history of house as being more soulful with like the vocal, like diva vocals and kind of like more of like that kind of sound. I just like that stuff. And I'm not necessarily as into the kind of like trappy, like, yo, you know what I mean? Like it was fun. And
you said so little and yet I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. I just have more fun with house, and I feel like I connect to the crowd more when I play it. And I think it's just kind of like house tracks are really long. And so there's a lot of space and time to kind of do cool layering when you're mixing, putting the songs on top of each other, kind of making it like a single, like evolving kind of thing rather than just going from song to song to song.
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of bass music mixing is like. You just like slam into the new song rather than like letting it breathe and playing the songs on top of each other for a long time.
So there's time to play around with it and like, try different things, experiment.
Yeah, exactly.
As you were talking about the vibes of house music, and I kind of feel that way about trance as well.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe not necessarily like the energy level of it, but maybe the people that show up, like they tend to be like very nice and positive. And I think it's very interesting how like different genres attract different types of people.
Yeah.
And it feels very different. But I can see from a DJ's perspective, like how your experience would differ based on like what kind of music you're working with.
Oh, totally. Completely different. Like, because like I said, I started playing bass music when I first was DJing out in public.
Yeah.
And I have switched to
I saw some of those pictures. Different Angelo.
Yeah, totally.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So I think we have reached the end of the interview portion of this show. I was wondering if we could try to see if we can get you to play some music for us.
Yeah.
So we've never done this before, so forgive us if it's like a rocky start, but we'll give them a little bit of time to get set up, and let me see what I can do to help.
Okay, I need to switch headphones.
So apparently you can send comments. Oh, hold on a second. Apparently you can post comments. And so I'm going to share some of the comments. Ted Spielman writes, make some noise in the channel for a toaster cookie.
This one, my aunt and mom commenting. Oh my god.
That's awesome. Trinity Harris Caruso writes, "We knew you as the 10-year-old DJ."
Yes, they did. Recording Barbie Girl on the radio.
That's awesome.
Okay, so, I mean, I think...
Yeah, I can hear you.
stay on my mind. Think about you all the time. Got to get to know you well. If you kiss, then I will tell. You stay on my mind. Think about you all the time. Got to get to know you well. If you kiss, then I will tell. You stay on my mind. Think about you all the time. Got to get to know you well. If you kiss, then I will tell. You stay on my mind. Think about you all the time. Got to get to know you well. If you kiss, then I will tell. Think about you all the time. If you kiss, then I will tell. Think about you all the time. If you kiss, then I will tell. You stay on my mind. Think about you all the time. Got to get to know you well. If you kiss, then I will tell. You stay on my mind. Think about you all the time. Got to get to know you well. If you kiss, then I will tell.
Like this, and it goes a little something like this, like this, this, like this, and it goes a little something like this, this, this. Like this, and it goes a little something like this. Like this. And it goes a little something like this. Like this. And it goes a little something like this. Something like. And it goes a little something like this.
see it get